Okay, volume of rectangular prisms. So I'm going to write the formula right up here. Volume equals length times width times height, or length times width, which is the base, times the height. Okay, same thing. So this one's done for us. So what they did is they multiplied the length times the width, 6 times 5, volume equals length times width times height. Notice how I'm always writing this formula right out. So the length is 6 centimeters times the width is 5 centimeters times, once we add that dimension, that we're adding 2 dimensions because it's 3 total layers. That's where we're adding that 3D effect. So 6 times 5 is 30, and we can't see that there's 30 total cubes here because we can only see that outside portion. So in order to find what is being occupied, the space occupied inside, that's where we add the height. And now we can say 30 times 3 is 90 total centimeters cubed. So that means that there's 90 total cubes in this figure. Okay, so again, we're looking at the base, which is the length times the width, 30 times the height, where we're adding that third dimension. Okay, next one. Here's our length, and that might be tricky. The tricky part might be thinking about which one's the length, which one's the width. Height's pretty easy to figure out because it's just looking at how high it is or how tall it is. Length times the width, okay, but it really doesn't technically matter because of the commutative property, which way the order goes in. Okay. The length is how long it is. The width is kind of like the depth of it, how wide it is. Volume equals length times width times height. So I want you to get used to doing that, writing that formula out in your notebook. So our length is 12 inches. Our width is 2 inches. So that's the same as our base, which is 24 inches. 12 times 2 is 24, times we have 4 layers for the height. So 12 times 2 is 24 times 4. So you might have to do a little bit of side work, and that's okay if you want to take a moment and do some side work over here. 4 times 4 is 16. Regroup. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 96. So that means there's 96 cubic units in this whole figure. And we're using inches and cubed because it's a 3-dimensional figure. Length, width, and height. Okay, so you've been noticing that I like to label first what each one is. Volume equals length times width times height, or base times height. So the base, or the length and the width, is 5 times 8 times that third dimension for the height. So the base times height, or the length times width times the height, is 5 times 8 is 40, times 3 is, we can use some mental math here, 4 times 3 is 12, and then add on that last 0. So there is a total volume of 120, they're using cubic inches, cubed. Okay, so you have to don't forget that label. All right, let's go down to a word problem. I'm going to use my close reading strategies and attack the problem with my pencil. Aaron keeps his baseball cards in a cardboard box that is 12 inches long, 8 inches wide, and 3 inches high. What is the volume of this box? Okay, so he has one side that is 8 inches long. Long is going to be the length. 8 inches wide for another side. And 3 inches high, which is the height. We want to know what is the volume of his box to keep his baseball cards in. Maybe some of you guys have some type of little box to keep your baseball cards in. Let's see what Aaron's is. You could do this with your own box. You could do this try it with a shoe box, even. Okay, so you just have to get the measurements. Let's write our formula. Volume equals length times width times height. You could even do a little drawing, a diagram. Let's say this is our box. Here's our length, which is 12 inches. And then we have our width. I should make this a three-dimensional figure. I'll try it my best. My drawing, you guys know my drawing isn't great. Looks a little bit like it. 8 inches wide. Let me get that label there for the units. And then the height is, this looks awful. I guess I should have went like this. I'd have to have you guys help me with this, as you know, if we were in the classroom. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but that's supposed to be three-dimensional. 3 inches high. Okay, so you could even draw a little diagram. So our length and our width is, we said 12 times 8 times the height, which is 3. So again, I'm going to come down here and do a little side work if I don't know my 12 facts. And I have 96 times 3, adding in that third dimension. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 is 28. 288. So 96 times 3. So our volume of, or Aaron's volume of his baseball card box is, I ran out of space, so I'm just going to fill this in down here, 288 inches cubed. Okay, we're going to stop there. So you guys are going to have more of these to try to solve on your Google form. So use your formula, use your notebook for workspace. Again, I want you to get used to writing that formula down. Okay, you're plugging in the numbers, you're substituting the numbers in for the letters. So a little bit of algebra here. And I believe I gave you one word problem on there too. So pay attention to reading carefully and draw a diagram if it helps. Otherwise, just set up your formula and you'll be ready to go.